The 11th of December 2012, 6:42 p.m. Indianapolis, Indiana. I stepped outside waiting for a friend to pick me up at 6:42 when I noticed a very bright light in the sky coming towards my house. Declination was approx 45 degrees at first, coming from the SSE at a slow but steady pace. The size was about 2 to 3 Jupiters. The light was very steady and did not blink or wave or shimmer. There was no sound at all. The total time of observation was 40 to 60 seconds. At first it appeared to be a plane. But as far as I know, I have never seen a plane that low that curved over my house and go the opposite way from the airport. Any plane that comes that low from the south always turn and go west to the airport before they even come close to my house. The light eventually curved close to my house at approx 80 to 90 degrees declination, where it turned and went east and at the last couple seconds faded into a red light. At that point it went behind some trees but was almost faded out completely anyways. This is not the normal direction of planes in this area. I live on a landing path for the Indianapolis airport and only landing planes are that low and they never go east. Always WSW. There were no other lights on the object. And no real shape could be made out. As far as I know, it was just a light and no other shape. There was no sound at all and no other planes around at that time. Good thing too, cause it may have run into a landing plane at that height. The object appeared to be 500 feet to a mile off the ground. Sky was clear but dark.
Noticed very large sphere hovering above Arlington Avenue. Driving back home from store. My wife saw it first. I looked up and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You could see right through it. It was so crazy to describe in detail, but it had, I guess what you could say, transparent walls with what looked like in the middle fire burning, but it was a sphere hovering. I pulled off onto the nearest road to get a better look. I could hear a little boy yelling at his dad to come look. The whole damn street was looking up at this thing. And the cars behind me pulled over to look as well. It hovered for 10 minutes or so, then it made a turn facing the north. It did this real stuff, and then it's excited. It lifted like a traced tail in the sky. I never seen anything move that fast in my life. I am thankful to have seen this and that I was not the only one, so I don't feel nuts. But it was the coolest thing I have ever seen in my life. It made no sound, no smoke, nothing. I tried to go the direction I thought it went, but nothing, it was gone. I hope to see it again. Thank for your time. This happened on July 4, 2013.
The 22nd of January 2012, 4:24 p.m. Indianapolis, Indiana. I took pictures of what seemed to look like crop circles on top of a lake with snow on it. To my memory, there was no ice or snow the night before. I could tell the ice was very thin for anyone to be on the ice. I saw a dense fog rolled in on top of the lake, so dense that I cannot take pictures of the lake, and minutes later I returned to see that all of the circles and snow melted in the fog was gone. I was in my apartment at the time. I first noticed when I looked out of my back patio window. When I first saw it, I thought it was warm water coming from pipelines that was melting the snow in straight lines until I saw that the lines did not coincide with the pipes going to the lake. They were also circles in various spots around the lines in it. Because of the lake was so big, I had to get a higher vantage point to take pictures, and it took me several pictures to make a panoramic view of it. Seeing the fog rolling in reminded me of the movie The Fog, on how it came in and vanished. It was frightening. I even feel anxious about writing about it now. The first and last time I tried to contact someone about these pictures and send it to them, I got no reply. The pictures were erased from my computer. I did not erase these pictures. I still have these pictures. Value them very much, and if you would like to see them, contact me. I don't want to take the risk of my smartphone mysteriously breaking down. Thank you for your time.
During the early morning hours of December 9, 2012, I was in the company of my cousin at his apartment in suburban Indianapolis, Indiana, USA, hanging out after a party I had attended earlier in the evening where I had engaged with a man on a higher consciousness level. This chance meeting raised a lot of eyebrows while opening the door to the contact event. While using my cell phone to carry a deep text message conversation with a friend, my cousin was nose to screen deep in sorting through debugging error logs attempting to troubleshoot an issue with his PC. We had spent a couple of hours staring into our respective screens with little verbal conversation between us. For some reason, I noticed his taskbar icons when I checked the time, specifically the volume being muted through the volume mixer. There were no browser pages open in the background, just a few control panel modules he had opened to get to the program he was using currently. As the sun came up, something just changed in the room. The energy was creating a hum in my ears, which I also happened to notice affecting the intensity of my cousin's tapping at the keyboard. Suddenly, a crashing sound came blasting through the small desktop speakers on the desk, no warning, out of nowhere. Startled by the abrupt volume and the sheer weirdness of it all, we both just stared at each other like, what in the... until I was jolted to record the whole thing with the digital mic on my cell phone. Somehow, I just knew. I was supposed to capture the message because it was being transmitted somehow through my energy. The recording lasted 4.5 minutes, the actual message possibly being about 10 seconds or more in length from reception of the signal to the moment I hit the record button. At first, it sounded like a rogue frequency bleeding through a radio or cell phone, but a keener ear revealed startling binaries I later deciphered. The untrained ear only hears commercials, specifically being unable to relate the syntax to the context of events leading to the manifestation of the signal. For 3 weeks, my life was turned upside down as the celestial succession of the vernal equinoxes signified the final tick of the long count, the 12th of December 12, when I decided to play the recording for a friend. The immediate reaction he projected was fear, so intense his eyes teared, yet he said he wasn't actually crying. Since then, the effect of this recording on others has been bizarre to say the least. My awareness leads me to understand it is parallel to the fictitious Vega transmission from Sagan's novel Contact. Buried deep within the waveform is a hexadecimal, golden rule sequence of data masked by the seemingly redundant infomercials and broadcast chatter. The mere fact the majority of various transmissions correlated to recent or future life events in my personal life was proof enough to family and friends something eerie was happening. I felt like Richard Dreyfuss' character from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. My life has not been the same since, nor have the manifestations ceased. I have had countless instances of unexplainable phenomena amongst numerable startled or even scared witnesses all across the country. To date, there has been one similar signal transmission phenomena to occur, either an aftershock or another reminder of things to come. Over the course of the past 3 years, my track record with Contact seems to be more empirical and less anecdotal as each day passes. In this day and age, I find it hard to believe there is a more compelling example of an individual truly maintaining that open channel, releasing the resulting energies I have come to harness as a result. My personal life has been turned upside down, isolating me from family and close friends due to the intensity of the true nature of such an event, challenging the paradigms and belief systems of anybody in contact with me since and during the fallout.
I and friends were gathered with hundreds of people to watch the huge, music-synchronized downtown Indianapolis fireworks display on July 4, 2011. Toward the end of the display, it became apparent that these dull, dark red spheres were following each other in a linear path, fairly uniformly speed-controlled, but with some individual variations in speed, and some with revolutions. These objects were perhaps less than 50 feet over the crowds, and followed the crowd movements through the downtown streets, fanning out continuously over a large grid. Many people noticed this. A friend's child was told by her former military father that this was a crowd control device, but privately, I was told that this was not the case. The object's size could have been similar to bowling balls, or they may have been closer to kids' rideable rubber kangaroo balls. This phenomenon continued on certainly past the point that I had to disperse and go home to prepare for my next work day. I remember wondering whether I should be observed acknowledging these, strength in numbers with my friends and others, or play dumb, which I believe I was frightened enough to do. I have not specifically seen the exact same phenomenon since.